Hi, my name's Chris. I'm a merchandising coordinator here at Right Stuf. I'm going to be talking about Pokemon Journeys, which is on Netflix now. Currently, there are 24 episodes in English on Netflix, and I was able to watch them all this past month or so. So my favorite thing about the Pokemon Journeys anime is that Ash and his new companion Go are traveling into previous regions in the Pokemon world. I really like this because it takes away some of the monotony of just sticking to one region, and you get to see places that Ash has already been and places that you loved back in the old seasons. So I have to say that this series really makes me feel like a kid again. It is kind of, I think, a return to form for Pokemon. It brought some new excitement to the series that I felt it had been missing these past few years. I just feel like there's a lot of new things, new exciting things going on that haven't been done before. For instance, Go, the new companion to Ash, is actually, I believe, the first character that actually has a real desire to catch them all, which I feel like is kind of ridiculous at this point since there's over 900 Pokemon. So it would be very hard for him to do at this point, and it would take a lot more episodes than just a few seasons to get that done. So how they go about that, I don't know. I guess we'll see. But it is a very exciting concept, to be sure. Now to get into a few spoilery things. They're not really big spoilers, but if you want to go in completely blind, it might spoil a little bit for you. You know, it's not going to ruin the series if you do listen to these spoilers. But one thing I find really interesting is that usually in all of these other seasons of Pokemon, Ash would have at least one of the starters from the new region. In this case, they're in Galar, which is, the starters are Scorbunny, Sobble, and Grookey. However, Ash doesn't have any of them yet. His companion does have two, however, in the Japanese series. Just one right now in English, which is Scorbunny and evolved into Raboot. But Ash doesn't have any of the starters from Galar yet, and I guess this is because they can get away with it because, like I said, they're going to several different regions and not strictly staying in Galar. What is interesting, though, is that Ash is from the Kanto region, which is Gen 1, for those of you not familiar. And so far, in the English version, he is only using Kanto Pokemon. Pikachu, of course, the mascot who he has had since the beginning. He also has a Gengar, a Dragonite, and his Mr. Mime, which he caught long ago. He actually did just hatch a Riolu, but so far we've only been seeing him use those Kanto Pokemon in battles. So I think that's really interesting that they're taking some old school Pokemon instead of focusing on the new region, as in other seasons. I also really like what Team Rocket is doing now. Team Rocket in previous generations, you know, they're really fun villains in the first few seasons, but they just get really, really old after a while. Just always coming for Ash and his Pikachu, always using the same Pokemon, always failing to catch any Pokemon, or stealing Pokemon, which is Team Rocket's mission. However, in this season, they are actually using the full advantage of Team Rocket, and that is that their boss, Giovanni, is actually renting out Pokemon to them for them to use. There's this vending machine that they actually eject random Pokeballs from the machine using Meowth's little chip thing on his forehead. And they're able to just use a random powerful Pokemon, or they'll like say, okay, let's try to capture Pikachu again. Let's grab that vending machine, and they twist it, and all of a sudden there's a Tyranitar that pops out, which is a really powerful Pokemon, at least more powerful than usual. And they usually still get beat by Ash and Pikachu, but it's still fun that you actually get to see them using new Pokemon than usual instead of the same old weak ones that always fail. One of the most exciting moments of the anime, I thought, right now is the battle between these two legendary trainers, one being Lance from the Kanto region, comes back and faces off against Galar's champion, Leon, who has a Charizard as his main Pokemon. And they have this really cool battle between a Gigantamax Charizard and a giant shiny Gyarados. Now I know Gigantamax will sound really confusing to you, not familiar with the current generation. Basically, it's where the Pokemon go from their regular size and get huge. And some of them, in this case, Charizard, actually change form so they look different than their normal size counterparts. But Lance has a shiny Gyarados, which people who have played the Gen 2 games will know is red and looks really cool and is always fun to use on a team. So seeing Charizard, which is personally my favorite Pokemon, battle against a red Gyarados, and with them being huge, looks really freaking cool to me. And then the last thing I want to talk about is that there are rumors going around that Ash's Pikachu might actually evolve in the new series. I do know whether it's been confirmed or not because the Japanese episode did air where he was allegedly supposed to evolve. I won't tell you if he does or not, but coming at it from a stance of whether he will or will not, whether he does or does not, I would really hope that he would have never evolved, you know, as the mascot of the franchise. Just having him gone, I think that's something that they would have to wait till the very, very end of the whole series. Evolving Pikachu would be like the Simpsons children aging, whereas, you know, they've been famous for over 20 years now. And just think if suddenly you see like Bart, Lisa, and Maggie are all full grown. I know they've had episodes where that happens, but just pretend that these beloved characters for years suddenly were just adults out of nowhere. I feel like that's kind of the equivalent to Pikachu evolving. So I would say that I would definitely recommend the series, especially if you haven't watched Pokemon in a while. I know it's kind of childish. It kind of gives me that nostalgic vibe, which is something that I really like. Again, it does make me feel like a child again, but it's also really fun. There's a lot of new things, and it's a great jumping off point if you haven't watched it in a long time, because like I said, they're going back, they're visiting the past regions, so you can kind of catch up to what kind of Pokemon there are in other regions, while also getting those new ones in the current generation. So I think that's a really fun thing, and again, with Go trying to catch them all, you never know how many they're going to actually show in the anime now. And with Team Rocket using all of these different Pokemon, there's just a lot of variety. And I think that any Pokemon fan, either past fans or future fans that haven't gotten into the show either recently or ever, can really enjoy this series.